my MacBook fans was screaming. 5 mono repo projects opened up in VS Code across various windows. 117 extensions were eating up my RAM in VS Code. If your laptop sounds like a jet engine every time you open a large mono repo, a large project in VS Code, then we are in the same boat. Well, recently, I ditched VS Code and Cursor for Zed, and honestly, I'm never going back. Hey, it's Akwesi here. I was a die-hard VS Code fan, and recently, I switched over to Cursor. I was a die-hard Cursor fan too. I loved the AI features, but there was a massive problem. You see, when I had 5 mono repo projects open, right, my RAM vanished. My fans were screaming and my system was crawling. Plus, I realized that I wasn't even using Cursor's AI agent that much. I was mostly running Claude code from the extension or using Claude code in the terminal and pairing it with my opened files or my opened editors. So this November, I gave Zed a new shot. Yes, I have tried Zed a long time before, but that time Zed was not quite good as it is now. Now, Zed is a completely different new beast. Today, you are going to see why I switched from VS Code or Cursor and went on to Zed, and why probably I'll never go back again. The first part is the performance of Zed. When you first start up Zed, the first thing that you notice is its speed. It's instantaneous. In VS Code, you know that feeling, right? Probably you have a big project, you open it, and you have to wait. You wait for the plugins, in my case, 117 extensions to load. You wait for the language server protocol to load. Then you're going to also wait for the TS config to load before you can actually start doing some real work. In Zed, my total extensions are around 8 extensions, right? So it really starts up really fast. In VS Code, I'm running, as I said earlier, 117 extensions. Things like Copilot Chat shoot through my RAM because they are constantly processing context in real time. In Zed, I have only 8 running extensions. Even if I had support for Go, Rust, and probably Java, I'll probably just hit around 20 extensions or so. The difference between Zed and VS Code is night and day when it comes to raw speed. The second thing that makes me love Zed is basically the architecture of the application. VS Code, Cursor, Google Anti-Gravity, they are all Electron applications, meaning they are glorified Chrome wrappers disguised as a code editor. But with Zed, it is a native Rust application. When you take, for instance, VS Code or Cursor or Google's Anti-Gravity, they use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to render text on the screen for you. Zed is different. Because Zed is built in Rust, they are using a framework in Rust called GPUI. GPUI is a rendering engine. Think of it as a rendering engine for games. But for this instance, it's a rendering engine for code or the text on your screen. It uses your graphics card or your GPU to paint the text on the screen, not the CPU, and not the whole going about of using HTML, CSS, and JS, passing them before rendering them on your screen. This means that in Zed, you can actually scroll through 10,000 lines of code. I don't know who will really do that, but it's feasible. You can do that. And you even have up to 120 FPS on computers which support high refresh rate in Zed. But VS Code, you are pretty limited. Open a 10,000 line file and you see the raw limitations of VS Code. You know that slight lag when scrolling through a huge file in VS Code, right? Gone in Zed. One thing too that I like about Zed is the Vim washes. Oh my god, it's so good. If you are a Vim user, listen to this. The Vim mode in Zed is actually so good and is superb. In VS Code, You see, we have a default Vim extension, right? That's somewhat okay, but it mostly crashes with the VS Code key bindings or VS Code keyboard shortcuts. Imagine running a whole Neovim instance on top of VS Code, a glorified Chrome wrapper. So you see, it took a toll on my system resources. So I stopped using Vim mode in VS Code and Cursor. But instead, I am yet to see a key map crash with Zed's key binding. Because it is a native, the keystrokes don't fight with the editor. I'm using VS Code key bindings in Zed. Although I have Vim mode enabled, and I haven't found a single broken Vim motion yet. It just works every time. As I mentioned earlier, I only have 8 extensions in Zed. They are simple, they are clean, they are fast. They work well for me. And I know that probably this list will grow when I tackle other languages like Rust or Go with Zed Editor. But even then, I'm staying me. The hardest part about switching editors is losing your muscle memory when you move from editor A to editor B. I use Claude to help me migrate all my Neovim configuration or all my Neovim key bindings into Zed, and it was a breeze. Now, I can do space EE to open my project panel. I can do space EC to collapse my project panel. I can do space BD to close all clean buffers instantly, space FF to toggle the file finder, and space FJ to toggle the global search. These are just some examples of the things that I can do in Zed. But here's the case. If you want to make me do a full-on video about my Neovim workflow or about my Vim workflow in Zed, type config in the comment section and I'll do that. One thing that I like too about Zed is the key map context system. It's actually really good. With the key map context system, you can specify exactly where a key map should trigger. For instance, I can have space D delete a file when I am in the project panel or when my cursor is focused on the project panel. Or the same space D will do something completely different when I am in the editor context or when my cursor is located in the editor. Zed have a context-aware key bindings, and this level of control means that you can actually create incredibly dense, efficient workflows without any conflicts. Now, one of my favorite killer features in Zed is the custom tasks. I have configured Zed to spawn terminal tasks as temporary tabs. So I can do something like press space JJ. Boom! LazyGit will open up in a terminal as a tab. I will do my git work. When I am done, I will press kill and the tab will destroy itself. I have done the same thing for Claude. Now I can press space CC and the AI CLI will pop up in a tab for that specific project, as if I am using the Claude Code extension in VS Code. I'll type in my question, I'll get my answer, hit Ctrl C, and it's gone. Yeah, although Zed has a built-in AI agent panel where I can connect Claude Code CLI, Gemini CLI, or even Codex CLI, but I prefer this custom workflow because it feels fast. And this custom tasks have made using Zed a breeze. At first, when I want to open LazyGit in VS Code, I had to manually open the terminal and type LazyGit before it opens up. In Neovim, I mapped it to a key binding space JJ, and that is exactly what I am doing inside Zed here, and it works flawlessly. Now, does this mean that Zed has no cons? Well, that's a no. You see, let me be real with you here. One of the key points or the pain points of Zed is the configuration complexity. When you are coming from VS Code or Cursor, right, probably that will hinder you a little bit. But as someone coming from Neovim, Helix, you won't notice this that much. But if you are coming from these editors like Cursor and VS Code, you are going to have to write huge JSON config files. Although the editor will work out of the box for you. But if you want to have the same experience as you have in VS Code or Cursor, you need to write huge config files to configure some things to your taste. I even have to configure the Vue language server protocol for it to behave just as I wanted it. So yes, sometimes the editor does not work out of the box. You have to configure so many things for it to work. It's not plug and play yet, but I know that with time, we are going to reach a place where Zed Editor will be as VSCode or will be as Cursor, where it will just be plug and play. Another huge pain point for me is basically the AI completions. Although it's not so much of a pain point, but I have noticed it. Right now, when I go into Cursor or VSCode, the AI completions there, it has around 35 to 45% accuracy. But in Zed Editor, sometimes the AI completion doesn't even show up. Sometimes too, it does, but their accuracy is very low compared to something like Cursor or VSCode. Right now, I don't really care about that. But if you are somebody who relies heavily on AI suggestions, then Zed Editor will not be the right editor for you. So here's my take. Zed is a breath of fresh air. It's fast, it's efficient, and it stops my MacBook from melting. Even though I missed some extensions here and there, the performance gains on the editor on my IDE is undeniable. So, would I go back to VS Code or Cursor? Not a chance. I don't see myself going back to VS Code or Cursor for the kind of work that I do. I mostly write Vue code, TypeScript code, React code, Angular code. If you want me to do a deep dive where I walk through every single line of my configuration file for Zed, comment the word config down below in the comment section. I'm glad you stayed to the end of this video. If this helped you, please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel if you want more dev content like this. And as always, do this for the love of it. See you in the next video.